Can God create a rock he cannot lift? Well, first of all, let's talk about what God is not, because the question itself makes God look like something that he's really not. God is not a magician. Okay, he's not some really powerful human being. He's not anything with a body at all that can do any kind of lifting, like exerting a force. So now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's talk about what God is. And let's talk about this in the context of probably the greatest Christian philosopher and theologian, St. Thomas Aquinas. He said that God is the act of existence itself. Now this is very different from the way God is normally pictured by the average person, and certainly by the way people who rail against God try to picture him. What does this mean? God is the very essence of existence. He is necessary being. Other things, for example, you can think like people, boxes, the sun, earth, pies. These things don't have to exist. They don't contain within themselves the cause of their own existence or the reason for their own existence, so they are contingent. God, on the other hand, is the very essence of existence. He is necessary being, and so he necessarily exists. And this act of existence itself is not a physical thing that exerts physical forces and lifts rocks. But having said that, let's explore the question. So there's God, and God is typically defined as being all-powerful, but then there's a rock that he can't lift. But if he can't lift the rock, that means he's not all-powerful, and so we have here a contradiction. And therefore, the answer to this question is no, it's not possible. But since it's not possible, we have to ask ourselves, does that put a limit on God's power? Does that mean that God can't do this? Does that mean that he's somehow not all-powerful? And the answer to that question is no. St. Thomas Aquinas, again, is a good theologian. He said there's no limit to what God can do except logic. And logic is a description of reality and what is even possible in the first place. So the fact is, God can do all things, but contradictions are not things. They are non-things. They are non-entities. They're not even possible under any circumstances in any universe at all. And so, can God create a rock he cannot lift? No, because the situation where there's a rock that God cannot lift is itself an impossibility. It is illogical and irrational to even have that idea in our heads. It doesn't refer to any particular thing.